For the first question, A union B. The sign union means collecting all the terms of A and B. So I'm going to collect all the terms of the set A and all the terms of set B. Terms of set A are 2 and 3, and elements in set B 8 and 10. So the answer is C. For question 2, which one of the following is an irrational number? The meaning of irrational number, it's like pi, root of 2, root of 10, cubic root of 7. The number that its root or cubic root doesn't give me a whole number or integer or a rational number. So root of 4 is equal to 2 and root of 100 is equal to 10. Root of negative 0.64 is equal negative 0.8. But the only one that cannot be expanded as an accurate decimal is 3 root 8, because there isn't any number multiply itself give me 8. So the answer is B. Question 3. The solution of x greater than 4 smaller than or equal to 7 is in the interval. The meaning of interval that the answer belongs to the set of real numbers. So the answer should contain all the number between 4 and 7. Notice that this sign means that the bracket is open, but this sign means that the bracket is closed as it's smaller than or equal. In number A, the bracket is open and open at 7. It means that it doesn't contain 4 and 7. But if we notice the answer at D, we'll find that it's open at 4. It means it doesn't contain 4, but it contains the value of 7. So the answer is D. Question 4. The additive inverse of negative 3 is. The word additive inverse means the adding of two numbers to give me 0. So what is the number I added to negative 3 to give me 0? Is 3. Or simply we can say that we are going to change the sign. If the number is positive, we are taking the negative, and if the number is negative, we are taking the positive. Question 5. The fourth root of 16 multiplied by x minus 3 all to the power of 12. We also can find these questions written as 16 multiplied by x minus 3 all to the power of 12 all to the power of quarter, because the fourth root is the same as power of 1 over 4. In case of a number, we are going to look for a number that we multiplied by itself 4 times to give me 16, which is 2. 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 is 16. And in case of a half a bracket to the power of quarter, we divide 12 by 4. So 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3. But in this case, we are going to choose the absolute value because we should make sure that the number below the bracket is not negative. So x minus 3 should be between the absolute value. So the answer is D. Question 6. The leading coefficient of 2x to the power of 4 minus 3x squared minus x. The meaning of the word leading coefficient, we are looking for the greatest power of x in the equation, which is x to the power of 4. Then we go to the coefficient of x to the power of 4 to figure it out. It's 2. So the answer is 2. So leading coefficient is the coefficient of the greatest power in the equation. Question 7. Simplify. Negative 2a squared b multiplied by 2a squared b all to the power of 3. Before we start solving, we should follow the rules of exponent, which says that a to the power of n multiply a to the power of m is a to the power of n plus m. So in case of I have the same base, I am adding the power. And in case of I have a to the power of n all to the power of m, I am multiplying the power. So the answer a to the power of n m. So I'm going to write down negative 2a squared b and 2 to the power of 3, which is 2 times 2 times 2, which is equal to 8. And a to the power of 2 all to the power of 3 is 2 by 3 is 6, so it's a power 6. b power 3 all to the power of 3 is b to the power of 9. Then, when I multiply negative 2 and 8, the answer is negative 16. And when I multiply a power 2 times a power 6, the answer is a to the power of 8. Notice that I add the power here. And when I multiply b to the power of 1, multiply b to the power of 9, it's b to the power of 10. So the answer is A. Question 8. Simplify 2x minus 3y all to the power of 2. We have two methods. I'm going to choose the easier one for me, which is writing 2x minus 3y as a product of two brackets. Then I start by multiplying 2x by 2x to give me 4x squared, and then multiply 2x by negative 3y to give me negative 6xy. Then I go to the second term, which is negative 3y multiplied by 2x to give me negative 6xy. Then the last terms, negative 3y multiply negative 3y, which is positive 9y squared. I will figure out that I have two like terms in the middle, negative 6xy and negative 6xy. Negative 6 and negative 6 is negative 12. So the final answer is 4x squared minus 12xy plus 9y squared. So the answer is A. Some students can use the rule which says that x plus y squared is equal first square, first times second times 2, and the third square. Notice that the last sign of the third term is always positive. Question 9. If a matrix 3 to the power of x plus 1, 729, 1 and 9 has no multiplication inverse or has no multiplicative inverse. The meaning of no multiplicative inverse that the determinant of this matrix is equal to 0. Let's remind you by the rule. If you have a matrix A, B, C, and D, and you wanted to find the determinant of this matrix, you are going to multiply A by D and subtract from it B times C. So, it's clear for me that the product of 3 to the power of x plus 1 multiplied by 9 should equal 729 multiplied by 1. So the difference between them will give me 0. By dividing both terms by 9, 3 to the power of x plus 1 will equal 81, as 72 divided by 9 is 8 and 9 divided by 9 is 1. Now you may ask yourself, 3 to the power of what to give me 81? 3 by 3 is 9 and 3 by 3 is 9. So 3 to the power of 4 is give me 81. In case of 3 power 4 is equal 81, so x plus 1 is equal to 4. And by solving this equation, x equal to 3. So the answer is C. Number 10. The number of terms of a plus b to the power of 9. We all know that in the binomial expansions, if the power is 9 and we are going to find the number of terms, we add to the power 1. So the number of terms in case of this bracket to the power of 9, it will give me 10 terms. So the answer is A. Question 11. Given that the matrix 5 and 1, 7 and negative 2 is equal to its corresponding matrix 5 and 1, x minus 3 and negative 2. For two matrices to be equal, they should have the same number inside it and they should have the same order. As we can see, 5 is opposite to 5. So x minus 3 is opposite to 7. In case of x minus 3 is equal to 7, so x is equal to 10. So the answer is C. Question 12. Factorize 4x squared minus 25y squared. We call this difference of two squares. Why? because 4 is the product of 2 and 2. X squared is the product of x times x. Minus 25 is a product of 5 and 5. Y squared is a product of y times y. So how we can factorize the difference of two squares? By opening two brackets. One of them is positive and the other is negative, and taking one of the 5 and one of y, one of the 2 multiplied by 2 and one of x. So it's gonna be 2x minus 5y multiplied by 2x plus 5y. In another method, we can say that we are taking the root of 4x squared, which is 2x, and the root of 25y squared, which is 5y. So it's 2x minus 5y multiply 2x plus 5y, and the answer is C. Question 13. If x is changing inversely with y and x is equal to 24, what is the value of y when what the value of x when y is equal to 12? The meaning of changing inversely means that when x increase, the value of y decrease, and when x decrease, the value of y increase. And we can write it as a proportion. x1 over x2 is equal y2 over y1. x1, which is 24, and y1, which is 4. Find x, which is x2, when y2 is 12. By replacing the values, x1 is 24, x2, I don't know, I want to find. y1 is 4 and y2 is 12. So to find x2, I'm going to use the cross product rule. So I'm going to multiply 4 by 24 and divide the answer by 12. Notice that 24 divided by 12 is equal to 2. So 4 multiplied by 2 is equal to 8. So the answer is D. Question 14. The solution of x squared plus 9 is equal to 0. And the meaning of solutions is to find the values of x which makes the equation equal to 0. By moving positive 9 to the other side, it's going to move negative 9. We can write negative 9 as negative 1 multiplied by 9, because there is no root for negative 9 if the answer belongs to R. But if it belongs to the imaginary number, we have an answer, as we know that root of negative 1 is equal to I. So, by taking the square root for both sides, and don't forget to add positive and negative, you will find that it's positive and negative root of negative 1 multiply root of 9, which is equal positive and negative 1. Root of 9 is 3 and root of negative 1 is I. So the answer is D. So don't forget that I is equal root of negative 1. And if this question belongs to R, no solution. If the solution set is belongs to R. Question 15. The 8th term in the sequence x plus 3, x plus 5, x plus 7 is. We can notice that this sequence is arithmetic sequences. Why? Because we are increasing with the same value. The first term is x plus 3 and the second term is x plus 5. Notice that x is repeated in each term, and from 3 to 5 we add 2, and from 5 to 7 we also added 2. So if I start a sequence, its first term is 3, and each time I'm going to add 2, we will figure out that the second term is 5, then 7, then 9, 11, 13, 15, and the 8th term is going to be 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8th term is 17, so the answer is A. Question 16. The general term of the sequence 2, 4, 6, and 8 is. Before we start solving, we should check if the sequence is arithmetic sequence or it's a geometric sequence. If you are adding or subtracting the same number every time, it's a geometric sequence. But if you're multiplying or dividing by the same number each time, it's a geometric sequence. We can notice that from 2 to 4, and from 4 to 6, and from 6 to 8, each time I am adding 2. So, since I am adding the same value, it's arithmetic sequences. And since the term that I'm adding each time is 2, so the factor or the coefficient of n should be 2. So at least now I'm sure, or I'm confused between choices B and C. Let's plug in n with 1. If you plug in n with 1, you will figure out that the first term is 2. And if you plug in x with 2, you will find that the second term is 4. So no needs to add or subtract. So the answer is B. Question 17. Simplify 8 plus 6i divided by 2i. We know that I is equal root of negative 1. One of the methods of solving these questions is to multiply up and down by the same denominator, which is 2i. So I'm going to multiply up and down by 2i, and then 8 multiplied by 2 is 16, and 2i multiplied by 2i is 4i squared. 8 multiplied by 2 is 16i, and 6 times 2 is 12, and I by I is 12i squared. Notice that I squared is equal to negative 1. So I'm going to replace I squared with negative 1. So the answer is going to be 16i minus 12 divided by negative 4. After replacing negative 1, because I squared is equal to negative 1, as I is equal to root of negative 1. So by dividing 16 by negative 4, it's 4i in negative. And by dividing negative by negative, it gave me positive. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Notice that if you have a plus b over c, the answer is a over c plus b over c. So the answer here is B. Question 18. In the sequence x, 2x plus 1, 3x plus 2, and 4x plus 3, find the seventh term. Find the seventh term. We notice that the first term is x, and its coefficient is 1. The second term is 2x plus 1, and its coefficient is 2. And in the third, 3. In the fourth, 4. So it's clear for me that the number of term is taking the coefficient. And the second term starts with 1. But the first term, there is no addition and subtraction. So it starts with 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until I reach 6. So the seventh term is 7x plus 6. Question 19. Find the sum or the summation from k is equal to 1 to 13 for 4k plus 1. The meaning of this sign is to find the sum of the terms from the first term here 1 to the 13th term, the numbers that are written up. 4k plus 1 is represent a sequence, but I don't know its terms. So I'm plugging in k with 1 to find the first term, which is equal to 5. And plugging in k with 2 to find the second term, which is 9. We will figure out that 5 and 9, difference between them is 4. And by continue, we'll figure out that each time you are adding 4. So I need to use the sum of 13 terms for an arithmetic sequences, which is equal n divided by 2, 13 divided by 2, multiply by 2 by the first term, which is 5, plus 13 number of terms minus 1 multiplied by the common difference. And by simplifying this equation, 13 over 2, 2 times 5 is 10, and 13 minus 1 is 12, multiplied by 4 is 48, So it's 13 over 2 multiplied by 58, and dividing 58 by 13 is 29. Now, what is 9 times 3? 9 times 3 is 27. So I'm going to choose D because its unit is 7. Notice that the rule I use to find the sum of terms here is Sn is equal n over 2 multiplied by 2a plus n minus 1d. D is the common difference, the number that you are adding or subtracting each time. And a is the first term. And n is the number of terms. Question 20. The general term of GP is. The meaning of general term, it means the rule. And GP is geometric sequences. So I wanted to find the general rule for geometric sequences, which is A multiplied by R to the power of n minus 1. Whereas A is the first term and R is the common ratio, the number that I multiply or divided each time. Question 21. The sum of the first 5 terms in the geometric sequences, which is 2, 4, 8, and so on. Since he is asking for the sum, so I'm going to add. Geometric sequences means that I have a common ratio. What is the common ratio? The number that I multiplied or I divided each time. Let's think. From 2 to 4, I multiplied by 2. And from 4 to 8, I also multiplied by 2. So what is the common ratio? It's 2. It's easier here not to use the rule of the geometric sequences sum. But it's better to find the first 5 terms. 2, 4, 8. The next term, 8 multiplied by 2, which is 16. And then 16 multiplied by 2, which is 32. How I can add these 5 terms faster? By combining the number that gave me zeros. 32 and 8 is 40. 16 and 4 is 20. So 2 plus 20 plus 40 is equal to 62. So the answer is A. Question 22. The geometric series is converging if the meaning of the word convergent that you can find sum to infinity. And sum to infinity just happened if the common ratio, the number that you multiplied or divided each time, is a fraction. Fraction like half, 2 over 3, 1 over 4, could be negative even. Negative 2 over 3, negative 1 over 4. So to satisfy this and to have a common ratio smaller than 1, you are going to choose A, as the absolute value should be smaller than 1. In case of it's greater, it's not going to be convergent. It will not end. No end in this case. And in case of it's equal to 1, it means all terms are the same. And in case of r is equal 0, there is no sequence. So the answer is A. Question 23. If A is equal to 3, r is equal to 2 over 3, then S infinity. S infinity for the geometric sequences is equal A, and A here is the first term, divided by 1 minus r, and r is the common ratio. So easily you are going to plug in the values. A is equal to 3, r is equal to 2 over 3. 1 minus 2 over 3 is 1 over 3. Now, you have 3 and 1 over 3. It's clear for you that the answer is not 8 and not 1 over 18. The answer could be 9 and 1 over 9. But since you have 3 in the denominator, you move it up. So 3 multiplied by 3 which is 9. So the answer is B. Question 24. Before we solve a question 24, we need to remember the rule for the log and how we can change it from a log form to exponential form. For example, if you have log A for y equal to x, or log y with base A is equal to x, you can write it as exponent as A to the power of x is equal to y. Notice that A is taking the power of x and equal to y. So let's go back to the questions. Log of third x is equal to -4. So third to the power of -4 is equal to x. And if I need to change the power from negative to positive, so I need to flip the fraction or find the reciprocal of the fraction. So 3 to the power of 4, which is 3 by 3 by 3 by 3, and 3 by 3 is 9. 3 by 3 is 9, so the answer is 81. Question 25. The degree of 2x squared y minus 3y squared plus z to the power of 5. The first term here, which is 2x squared y, is third degree. Why is a third degree? Because y here to the power of 1. And 3y squared is second degree, because y to the power of 2. Z to the power of 5 is fifth degree. Notice that we adding in the first term 1 and 2 at x squared times y. So we need to compare between fifth degree, second degree, and third degree. We'll figure out that the greatest is fifth degree.